Today on Personal Injury Court.
I was 600 feet up in the air. It was just unbelievable. But then all of a sudden it started to get windy. I started bouncing around. I looked down and the tow rope is gone.
Mr. Davis, how does that happen? He's this far up in the air and the tow line is gone?
I had to cut the tow rope.
You are asking this court for an award of $750,000.
Ever see cartoons with the cartoon characters like bounce, boom, 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 boom? That was me. All I know is all of a sudden then I hit a garbage can. Boom!
Judge Gino Brogdon spent 10 years on the bench ruling on cases worth billions of dollars. Now he presides over some of the largest claims in TV history. This is Personal Injury Court.
Good day, everyone. This is the matter of Stone versus Davis and Gulf Views Parasailing. Mr. and Mrs. Stone, it's my understanding that you all are suing Mr. Davis for injuries that Mr. Stone sustained during a parasailing incident on Mr. Davis's boat. You're asking this court to award you $70,000 for past medicals, $30,000 for future medicals, $650,000 for pain and suffering,
yes,
for a total
Your
award
Honor.
of $750,000.
Yes.
Is that correct?
That's
Yes,
correct,
Your
Your Honor.
And Mr. Davis, you believe that this is not your fault. This is something that happened that's outside your control, and you should not be held responsible.
That is correct, sir.
All right, well, let's get into the legal sauce. Why would you all choose parasailing?
Well, Your Honor, my husband and I, we've been married for 25 wonderful years. And
Congratulations.
we were able to finally retire. I'm a retired teacher, and I retired first. And my husband was a bus driver for 30 years, and he just recently retired. And we've always thought, wouldn't it be wonderful to finally take a vacation? We've always been super busy. So we thought, okay, our first vacation would be a 4-day mini vacation.
Mr. Stone, of all things, parasailing?
Right, but I always wanted to do that, okay? It was actually on my bucket list, but I couldn't do it because of my job. I worked for the city for 30 years driving a bus, and I could never really take off much time because I had to work nights, weekends, holidays. You know, that's why I was able to retire early, because I was able to save up enough and get out early while I was still young enough. I'm only 60, so I was still able to get out.
That's getting younger every day.
That's right. This was my love, and that's why we did this.
So you could cross this off the bucket list.
That's right.
Yes.
And get
Cross
to
this
number
off.
2.
That's right, and go on now to number 2.
Mr. Davis, tell me about your parasailing business.
Gulf Views started off as a modest business. It was a small business started by my pops. And we've been around for 27 years, top rated in the city. We get hundreds of reservations each month.
So this is a family business.
Yes, sir.
How did this happen?
We got to the dock around 4:45. The appointment
Okay.
wasn't until 5, but we wanted to get there early just to make sure we could just get everything taken care of. You know, whatever he had to go over with us. And Mr. Davis wasn't there. He didn't get there until 5:15, and he started to rush us. He did promise us that, don't worry, you'll get your time up in the air. You know, he was good about that. You know, but he just seemed to be in a hurry, you know.
Were you in a hurry, Mr. Davis?
No, sir. Actually, Mr. and Mrs. Stone, they were in a hurry. They were my last reservation for the day. And I was, in fact, running late, but that was due to a previous customer who had experienced motion sickness.
So you were late?
I was late, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
But not in a hurry?
Not in a hurry, no.
Right.
No.
So what happened?
He put the harness on me, and you know, before I knew it, I was 600 feet up in the air, just flying. It was just unbelievable. The views, it was just awesome. As free as a bird.
Well, that's what you wanted, right?
That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. But then all of a sudden it started to get windy. The wind started to blow. It just started to get a little crazy. I started bouncing around. At one point, my life kind of flashed in front of me. It was like, did I make a mistake in coming up here? You know, but I figured, well, they know what they're doing down there. They'll figure it out.
So you're 600 feet up in the air, hanging from this parachute.
Correct.
The wind starts blowing, and you're flapping around in the
That's right.
wind?
I'm flapping around like you can imagine. I look down, and the tow rope, or whatever they call it, is gone. Whoa. It's just like dropped. Now, I didn't know if it broke because of the wind. I had no idea what happened.
Mr. Davis, how does that happen? He's this far up in the air, and the tow line is gone?
I had to cut the tow rope. I had to make a careful assessment. Whenever I saw the winds getting out of hand and, you know, he was blowing, swaying back and forth, and what happens with that is he should land safely into the water. But unfortunately, it did not go that way.
So when you cut the tow line, He's supposed to float around up there in the air and then land in the water. That's the safest route.
That is the safest route, especially whenever the wind gets as volatile as it did unexpectedly at that moment, yes.
Mrs. Stone, tell me what you saw.
I knew that something was wrong, and I saw that my husband was freaking out, so I started freaking out. And Mr. Davis kept saying, oh, it's safe, it's safe, it's safe, you'll be fine, you'll be fine.
All of a sudden, I'm flying and I don't have wings. At that, a big gust of wind came along and it just took me. And because we were so close to the shore, it just took me and ran me into the ground, you know, like a rock. Then I'm scraping along the ground, like, ever see cartoons with the cartoon characters like bounce, boom, 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 boom? That was me. I was bleeding, I had no idea what was going on, and it seemed like I was going on forever. All I know is all of a sudden then I hit a garbage can, boom! And that's what stopped me. Of course, then I woke up, there was blood everywhere, my skin was on fire, you know.
So you hit the sand and this trash can and ripped your ear off?
Well, yeah, I did lose my right ear.
Mr. Stone, you submitted to this court an animation. I want you to cross over to the plasma screen and walk me through this as to how this happened.
Okay, yes, Your Honor.
Take your time. So how did it happen?
Here's the boat, we're coming along, boat's moving pretty fast, the tow rope goes down, and then boom, that's me.
So as you slammed into this sand and hit that garbage can, you ripped your ear off and damaged your arm?
All I know is I was in a lot of pain. And I had no idea I lost my ear. I thought I just had a lot of blood here. I didn't know until later that I had lost my right ear. But we also have friends that were on the beach that were actually taking a video of me up there. And that can show a little bit more of how high up I was, as well as how close we were to the beach.
Coming up.
Now this is what your friends were taping.
Yeah,
That's
they were
you.
on the beach, and then there I am, and there I go.
I thought that my husband was dead.
It could have been so much worse if I would not have cut the tow line. I will emphasize that this was not my fault.
Well, what would have happened had you not cut the tow line?
He could have died. Unfortunately, Mr. and Mrs. Stone, they did not listen to the safety briefing before we even hit the water.
Come on.
All I know is all of a sudden then I hit a garbage can, boom! And that's what stopped me. We also have friends that were on the beach that were actually taking a video of me up there.
Mr. Stone, you submitted that video to this court. Let's take a look at it.
Correct.
Now this is what your
This is
friends
me.
were taping.
Yeah,
That's
they were
you.
on the beach and they knew something was wrong because they were screaming, and there I am, and there I go. Because you don't see me anymore because that's the beach.
Wow.
I hit the ground like a rock.
Mrs. Stone, you were sitting in the boat watching your husband sail away?
All of it, yes.
What were you thinking?
Devastation. I thought that my husband was dead and we couldn't get to the shore fast enough. It was just a horrific, horrific experience.
Mr. Davis, what were you thinking? You're sitting in the boat, one of your customers, after you cut the tow line, starts sailing away, slams into the sand and has really bad injuries.
It's actually unfortunate to watch that, Your Honor, and I am really so sorry that Mr. Stone was hurt. It could have been so much worse if I would not have cut the tow line. But I will emphasize that this was not my fault. This was very unexpected.
What would have happened had you not cut the tow line?
He could have died.
So you believe you saved his life by cutting the tow line?
I believe that I made a judgment call that actually saved his life.
Mr. Stone, you may return to the podium.
This life is not much, buddy.
Mr. Davis, this is not supposed to happen this way. You didn't have any other options other than cutting the tow line?
Unfortunately, Mr. and Mrs. Stone, they did not listen to the safety briefing before we even hit the water.
Come on.
Tell me about the safety briefing.
Yeah, the safety briefing, we go through various things that you need to know before you go parasailing, especially if you don't have any experience. I did. I tried.
Gentlemen, talk to me.
You know, if I would have gotten as much attention as you are getting here in the courtroom.
Second time, talk to me or I'm going to use my gavel. So you said you had something regarding the safety briefings.
Yes, I like to spend a reasonable amount of time on safety precautions.
And these are to keep the customer safe.
Exactly.
Now you brought some documents with you. What did you bring with you?
Next.
I said, can we go near the shore? And he said, yes.
But you did want to go close to the shore, true?
I had road rash over my whole body. I had face lacerations and a broken clavicle. I have to sleep in a recliner.
To better understand how this happened, this court has consulted an engineer, Miss Andrea Brown Milheisler.
The captain decided to cut the line, assuming that the parasailer would drop directly into the ocean.
Of course, then I woke up. There was blood everywhere. My skin was on fire. You know.
So you hit the sand and this trash can and ripped your ear off?
Yeah, I did lose my right ear.
It could have been so much worse if I would not have cut the tow line. But I will emphasize that this was not my fault. I brought a list of the safety precautions that I cover.
Sheriff Matt, will you retrieve those from Mr. Davis? Let me take a look at them. It reads parasailing guidelines. In the event of an emergency during your ride, please use the correct hand signals to alert your boat driver to bring you back down. That's number 4. Number 7 is fly at your own risk. You knew that you are flying at your own risk. I mean, that's kind of plain as the nose on my face. Now, did y'all rush him through this?
Well, the thing is, he was
late.
late. He was late, and I think that's why he rushed through everything.
They wanted to get closer to the shore so all their friends on the beach could take videos of them.
All I know is I remember saying to him, I said, can we go near the shore? And he said, yes, as long as
But you
it's safe.
did want to go close to the shore, true? If you hadn't been so close to the shore, then you land in the water.
Right, but he could have taken us away from the shore. Why didn't he do that?
Why didn't you take him away from the shore?
By the time we got that, that's when the wind picked up.
Mr. and Mrs. Stone, you are asking this court to award you $650,000 for pain and suffering, $70,000 for past medicals, and $30,000 for future medical expenses. Tell me how this experience has been.
I had road rash, okay, from up and down my arm, over my whole body.
And you got that from hitting the sand?
I got that from hitting the sand, okay, just being dragged along the sand.
Yeah, it took your skin off.
Took my skin completely off. I felt like my skin was on fire. You know, I had face lacerations. You can still see some of them here. I had a broken clavicle.
That can be a very painful break. When I was playing college football, a lot of guys would get that injury.
That's correct. But then the worst thing was, you know, I thought there was just blood coming out of this ear, and I lost my right ear completely. It got torn off, which explains the pain I was feeling when I was getting dragged along the beach.
Your Honor, this has turned our lives upside down. We're at home most of the time. I have to drive him everywhere. I have to make sure that he's taking care of his wounds.
She's basically a nurse now.
Mr. Davis,
Your Honor.
this is not supposed to happen, right?
No, it is not. I would call this a fluke, and it's unfortunate, and I'm sorry again for what's happened to them. This is something that I did not foresee coming. I cannot control the weather.
To better understand how this happened, this court has consulted an engineer, Miss Andrea Brown Milheisler. Sheriff, will you get Miss Milheisler here?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good day, ma'am. Can you explain how an accident like this happens?
I have a diagram to help simplify that. As you can see, the forward momentum or velocity, shown as V in this diagram, creates a wind force. Now, this wind force is what works with a special design of the parasail to create an upward force, known as lift.
And the lift that you talk about is what we see when the parasailer goes up into the air.
Yes.
Now, the testimony in this case is that the tow line had to be cut, and the plan was for Mr. Stone to land in the water. How does he end up getting dragged and tumbling on the sand?
Had he been operating in a vacuum, he would have dropped directly into the water. But there were wind gusts coming in off of the ocean toward the shore. Now, these forces of wind would have been acting perpendicular to the motion of the boat, as well as the forward movement of the parasail. And this would have created a lot of turbulence in the parasail. And because of the tautness of the line from the boat, it also would have caused turbulence in the boat. So instead of creating a potentially dangerous effect for himself and everyone on the boat, the captain decided to cut the line, assuming that the parasailer would drop directly into the ocean and have a safe water landing while also maintaining the safety of his vessel and the people aboard.
Thank you, ma'am. You are released. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
This close to shore thing really kind of bugs me. Aren't you the captain of the ship?
I was too close to the shore at 600 feet, which he wanted to keep going higher and higher.
He's the boss.
At
He's
600
riding
feet,
the boat.
Well, the customer technically is the boss.
You do admit that you asked to get closer to shore.
If it was safe.
All right, I think I've heard what I need to hear. I'm ready to render my decision.
The verdict is in.
When you're a business owner that sells a dangerous thrill-seeker experience, you have certain responsibilities. When you're the customer seeking and paying for thrill-seeking experiences, you have certain responsibilities. You must take your time and listen to the safety instructions and follow them. Here, the customer is wrong, and you are wrong to adhere to their request. You do admit that you asked to get closer to shore.
If it was safe.
All right, I think I've heard what I need to hear. I'm ready to render my decision. Folks, to win a personal injury case, the plaintiff has to basically build a three-legged stool. You have to prove the first leg that the defendant did something wrong. The second leg is that that wrong caused the third leg, your injuries and harm. Here, you all have put up evidence that the defendant took you close to shore and assured you that it was safe and did not anticipate the wind. Then he cut the tow line and let you sail to an injury and a changed destiny. You actually lost your ear. Mr. Davis, you've put up evidence that these folks rushed you through the safety instructions. It was them that wanted to get too close to the shore and that you had no choice but to cut the tow line because the wind came out of nowhere and this is not your fault. The legal principle that is highlighted in this case is inherently dangerous activities, and what do you do about it? When you're a business owner that sells a dangerous thrill-seeker experience, you have certain responsibilities. When you're the customer seeking and paying for thrill-seeking experiences, you have certain responsibilities. As the customer, you must take your time and listen to the safety instructions and follow them. When you do that, the burden is on the defendant to keep you safe. As the holder of the dangerous instrumentality, that is the boat and the parasail, the law imposes upon you to treat safety important at every stage. I didn't hear once in this case that you told Mr. and Mrs. Stone that a time may come where you have to cut the tow line and let him sail away. That is very, very, very important. And if it's not safe to go close to the shore, you as the ultimate holder of safety have to tell them no. Here, the customer, even if they requested that, the customer is wrong, and you are wrong to adhere to their request. I find that you have proven that the defendant is wrong, that the defendant should have instructed you, that the defendant should not have let you get close to the shore. I find in favor of the plaintiff and against the defendant, and I award you $750,000.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
That is my final verdict, and this matter is adjourned.
Today on Personal Injury Court.
You're kind of haunted by this every waking moment.
Yes, Your Honor.
My daughter was standing up, observing me. Mr. Ward comes barreling down.
I didn't run over anybody, okay? I just nicked her and she fell.
He initially hit me on my left leg, which shattered my kneecap, tore my ACL.
You're asking this court for $550,000.
I have a pre-existing condition.
Spondylolisthesis.
Is that even a thing?
One thing that we don't do in this courtroom is to belittle someone else's reality.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge Gino Brogdon spent 10 years on the bench ruling on cases worth billions of dollars. Now he presides over some of the largest claims in TV history. This is Personal Injury Court.
Good day, everyone. This is the matter of Donahue versus Ward. From the documents you filed with this court, Ms. Donahue, you are here with your father, but you're suing Mr. Ward for injuries that you received in a golf cart accident. You're asking this court to award you $25,000 for past medicals, $30,000 for future medicals, $500,000 for pain and suffering, for a total award of $555,000. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Ward, you believe you were not wrong. You didn't do anything wrong here. You did your best, and she's responsible for her own injuries. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, let's get into the legal sauce. Now, father and daughter golfing, how does that happen?
Well, Your Honor, I've been a golfer all my life. I really enjoy the game. It's one of my favorite pastimes. All growing up, I tried to get Lindsay to come with me on the golf course, but it just wasn't what she wanted to do on her Saturdays or Fridays. So I was really shocked and surprised when she came to me recently and said, "Daddy, I'd like to have you teach me how to play golf." I mean, this was a thrill. So I planned the whole day. We got some tea times down. We had breakfast. We were planning a lunch, and this was a really special day for Lindsay and I.
So what did it mean to you, Miss Lindsay?
Well, I just recently graduated college, Your Honor, and I got a wonderful opportunity to work with this insurance company. And I know many of the offers and deals are made on the golf course, and I didn't want to be left out because I didn't know how to play, or heaven forbid, because I'm a woman. So I thought, why not have one of the best teachers, my dad, teach me how to play golf? So I took up that opportunity.
That is beautiful, and I should have had girls, I'm telling you. Mr. Ward, you're also a golfer?
Yes.
How long you been golfing?
Oh, it's been at least 25, 30 years. I own my own sanitation company. I'm kind of a self-made man, and I like to play golf. I try to go a couple times a week, maybe 3. I like to make deals on the golf course.
3 times a week, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
yes.
3 is a special number for me because that's how many times I've been golfing in my whole life. So how did this happen?
Well, Your Honor, we were on the 11th hole, and I've never, ever played before, so I was trying to get every aspect, every angle that I could.
Yes, ma'am.
And as that was happening, as I was watching my dad, the next thing I know, Mr. Ward comes over the hill with his weighted down golf cart, smacks me in my left leg and breaks my kneecap, and it tosses me into the sand pit where I tear my ACL and slip 3 discs.
So Mr. Ward ran you over with his golf cart and knocked you into the sand trap?
Yes, Your Honor.
Correct.
I didn't run over anybody, okay? And I was concerned when I found out what happened. I just nicked her and she fell. I mean, bottom line is it wasn't my fault.
So, Mr. Donahue, Mrs. Donahue, you all submitted an exhibit to this court that lays out the course. I want to put that up on the plasma screen and you take me through it as to exactly how this happened. Can we do that?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
All right, if you'll cross over, sir.
Sure. That's me here with my putter. My daughter was standing up observing me putt because we were working on her short game. Now I'm lining up my putt, so I'm looking down when all of a sudden I hear my daughter yell, and I look up and I don't see my daughter, but I see Mr. Ward going screaming by on the golf cart. I run over and I see my daughter. She's in the sand trap, holding her knee, writhing in pain, and then Mr. Ward is just nowhere to be seen.
Thank you, sir. You may return to the podium.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Ward, in legal cases, people always say there are 2 sides to every story. So what is your side?
Well, my side is that I think it comes down to golf etiquette. Now, there's rules on every golf course, you know, that are posted, and then there's some rules that are just common sense.
Okay.
I've got a list of the rules right here I'd like to present to the court if I could.
Okay, Sheriff, will you get that list?
They broke every rule. They were too loud. Every time one of them made a good shot, I heard giggling, and I think that was Mr. Donahue.
But wait a minute.
My daughter was excited.
Hold on. If giggling is against the rules, I don't think I want to go to that court.
Well, it's
Exactly.
a private club. Yeah.
Especially if you're out there with your dad. I mean,
well,
aren't you
I
supposed to have
understand
fun?
that, but I mean, they went beyond. I mean, giggling, yelling.
When I got excited, yes, I giggled because I finally got the movement of it right, but I wasn't overly loud or talking loud or being distracting.
Well, let's look
anyway.
at these rules. It says club rules. The first is play at a reasonable pace.
That was one that they never got
How did
right.
they break that rule?
They were playing at a turtle's pace. I mean, there was a line of golfers behind me even.
So they
waiting
had
to
it
get-
backed up.
Yeah.
If she's a beginner, though, isn't that kind of expected? I mean, it looked like a highway when I was playing.
Yeah, well,
with the people behind me.
That's why you don't, teach the major portion of it on the course. You do it at the driving
Your Honor,
range,
they were the only
putting
ones
green.
behind it. There was nobody else behind us because
No.
they were the only ones behind us.
No, there was a bunch of
I don't know
people.
how you
We'll
get
figure that
experience.
out. So the second one is repair ball marks and replace divots. So they were tearing this golf course up.
Exactly.
Most of those divots are not mine.
She covered. I told her about the divots and I put it back.
Your
yeah.
Honor, this is the first time I've ever seen somebody make a divot with a putter.
No, that.
Yeah, they made 2 of them.
Coming up,
So you had a golf bag.
Yeah, right about here.
Here.
There you go. There's water, as you see on this side. There's a sand trap on this side.
And you're
Right.
not going in the water.
And there was room there for a cart to go around. All she had to do was step out of the way, which I thought she did.
This court has consulted a 23-year veteran of the PGA Tour and the 2009 winner of the British Open, Stuart Sink. We've been talking about something called golf course etiquette. What is that?
Mr. Ward comes over the hill with his weighted down golf cart, smacks me in my left leg and breaks my kneecap, and it tosses me into the sand pit where I tear my ACL and slip 3 discs.
Bottom line is it wasn't my fault. Now, there's rules on every golf course. I've got a list of the rules right here.
So it goes on to say, do not distract other players.
See?
Place bags and carts between green and next tee.
And that-
Did they do that?
No, and that was the main problem. They had clubs, their bags, I think some food.
No,
food or bags,
no,
Your
there
Honor.
was not.
Can I go up to the monitor here?
Please, because I want to make sure I know where these bags and things are.
The golf bag was right here. I mean, it was almost like a roadblock there.
So you had a golf bag.
Right about here.
Here.
There you go.
Okay, so you got a golf bag there, and they had other stuff that kind of was around,
Exactly, yeah.
and you're trying to get over here.
Right. There's water, as you see on this side. There's a sand trap on this side.
So you really have to go either this way or that way.
That's
and you're
right.
not going in the water.
I wasn't going in the water. So I go this way, and there was room there for a cart to go around. All she had to do was step out of the way, which I thought she did.
So you may return to the podium. When you come over the hill, are you screaming anything? Are you saying anything?
You know, they knew I was coming around that way. I mean, I didn't think I had to scream or anything like that. And when she fell in, I thought that she had just slipped and fallen in, so I didn't say much. And I'm like, hey, you're going to need a wedge to get out of there, which sounds bad now, but I didn't know she.
Yeah, that was
How did you not know you
kind
hit
of
me?
ill-timed humor, wasn't it? She got hurt.
I didn't know. I was golfing with my buddy Joey. He says, hey, we better stop.
He
I
was
think there's a
obnoxious
big-
the whole time, Your Honor. He was
ignoring.
screaming at us.
Now, Mr. Ward, I don't think I can completely let you off the hook because I drive a golf cart when I go fishing at a lake, right? I'm riding around. It seems when you take your foot off the gas, that thing almost stops, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, if you look, this was a hilly golf course, and this is the 11th hole right there. I was coming down, I had momentum. I'm a big guy. The guys I were with were big guys, so, you know, it wasn't going to stop easy.
You had brakes. You could have stopped. You could have said something. You could have
Said
asked me to
something.
move.
Excuse
you could have
us.
told
Talk
me to
to
move.
me.
If
Move
there
your
was
bag.
stuff there, you could have told me to
Talk
move
to
it.
me, folks.
Yeah, they knew I was coming through, Your Honor. I mean, they're the ones that told me to do it.
next.
When Mr. Ward hit me, he shattered my kneecap, tore my ACL, and I slipped 3 discs in my back. The vertebrae slips out of place and it crushes my nerves and caused extensive pain.
This wouldn't have happened if they'd followed golf etiquette.
To further understand golf etiquette, this court has consulted a 23-year veteran of the PGA Tour, Stuart Sink.
Part of me agrees with what Mr. Ward is saying. Respect your fellow players, and that means keep up and keep your stuff kind of in a neat little place.
My daughter was standing up observing me. I hear my daughter yell, and the golf cart barreling down the path here. I run over, and I see my daughter. She's in the sand trap, holding her knee, writhing in pain.
Ms. Donahue, you have submitted $25,000 in past medical bills for your injuries. I want to understand your injuries. Will you explain that to me?
Yes, Your Honor. When Mr. Ward hit me, he initially hit me on my left leg, which shattered my kneecap. And then when I fell into the sand trap, as I fell, I twisted and it tore my ACL, and as you can see, I had to get extensive surgery. And then when I fell into the sand trap, I slipped 3 discs in my back.
You submitted this MRI of your back?
Yes, Your Honor. That is from a pre-existing condition. Sometimes the vertebrae slips out of place and it crushes my nerves, but I didn't have any trouble beforehand. I was standing up perfectly fine. I was dancing, I was hiking, but once the accident happened, it triggered it, and I cannot.
It aggravated your pre-existing condition of spondylolisthesis.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And you're kind of haunted by this every waking moment.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that even a thing?
Really?
Is what a thing? Her pre-existing. It's a medical condition that you affected when you hit her with your golf cart. One thing that we don't do in this courtroom is to belittle someone else's reality.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You may not agree with it, but in my courtroom, you can't disrespect it. So you're asking this court for $500,000 for pain and suffering. That's a lot of money. That's not just a blown out knee.
I used to dance, and I used to go hiking, and I used to be able to like go to my job, and I can't do that. I can't even live in my own apartment that I had because I can't even go up the stairs. I have to live at home.
She had to move back in with my wife and I, Your Honor.
Oh, she had to move back home because of it?
Yes, because of this injury that Mr. Ward caused. And it's just frustrating to see my young, vibrant daughter all of a sudden, you know, have this pain and this inability to move and work on her own, live on her own. It's very frustrating, as you must know.
The worst injury to any parent is an injury to our children.
Exactly.
There's no doubt about that. Mr. Ward, you see that this has changed this young lady's life.
Yeah, I do see it, and I feel bad about that. But I also hear her say it's a pre-existing condition.
But it wasn't bothering me beforehand.
You hit somebody on the golf course. I need to see you with a little bit of heart.
Well, I've got an adult daughter, too, and I know.
You're a dad, too.
Yeah, and this wouldn't have happened if they'd followed golf etiquette.
To further understand golf etiquette and how it applies to this case, this court has consulted a 23-year veteran of the PGA Tour and the 2009 winner of the British Open, Stuart Sink. Sheriff Matt, will you get Mr. Sink?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good day, Mr. Sink.
Good day, Your Honor.
It is a privilege to have you here today. We've been talking about something called golf course etiquette. What is that?
Golf is founded on respect your fellow competitor and respect the course and respect the rules of the game. The group behind you, just keep up. And you try to leave the course how you found it, and it's just a respect thing.
In this case, Mr. Ward's in the golf cart, and he's coming down the path.
Yes.
What is he supposed to be thinking and looking out for as he's driving the golf cart?
Well, I think the number one thing you would probably wanting to be aware of is what is in your immediate path.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, it's common sense.
It was their stuff. Their stuff was in my immediate
No,
path.
they weren't.
Okay, well, let's take that. Now, there's a golf bag full of clubs, partly in the path, and other stuff strewn around. What's he supposed to do as the driver of the golf cart?
If you're going so fast that you can't see that there's something in the way, you can't slow down, then you probably shouldn't be going that fast.
Well, tell me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If you're an experienced golfer and you've got people ahead of you that are tearing up the course, they're taking too much time, they got their stuff everywhere,
They're loud.
what are you supposed to do?
That can be very frustrating, and I've been there too. Part of me agrees with what Mr. Ward is saying, but there's a way to address it. You know, it is part of the game that you're supposed to respect your fellow players, and that means keep up and keep your stuff kind of in a neat little place. And it's so I can see both sides here.
Mr. Sink, thank you so much. You've really helped me in this case. Folks, I think I've heard what I need to hear, and I'm ready to render my decision.
The verdict is in.
You and your dad went out to have a great father-daughter day on the golf course. All of a sudden, Mr. Ward comes out of nowhere. You turn around, no time to get out the way. He strikes you and knocks you into the sand trap and changes your life forever. Mr. Ward, you've put up evidence that these folks simply did not honor the etiquette and the rules of the golf course. And so Miss Donahue is responsible for her own injuries, according to you.
when Mr. Ward hit me, he initially hit me on my left leg, which shattered my kneecap. And then when I fell into the sand trap, as I fell, I twisted and it tore my ACL. And
This wouldn't have happened if they'd followed golf etiquette. Bottom line is it wasn't my fault.
In every personal injury case, the plaintiff has the burden to prove three things. You, Ms. Donahue, have to prove that Mr. Ward was wrong. That's the first thing. The second thing is you have to prove Mr. Ward's wrong caused your injuries. You have to offer no further proof of your injuries. They are undisputed. You and your dad went out to have a great father-daughter day on the golf course. You all expected to go at a pretty leisurely pace. You're having fun, you're at the 11th hole, all of a sudden Mr. Ward comes out of nowhere, you turn around, no time to get out the way, he strikes you and knocks you into the sand trap and changes your life for a long time, maybe forever. And you want him to be held responsible today. Mr. Ward, you've put up evidence that these folks simply did not honor the etiquette and the rules of the golf course. One, they were going too slow, they were being obnoxious, they put their stuff all over the course, and they did not get out of the way when they had a chance to. And so Miss Donahue is responsible for her own injuries, according to you. This case and these facts raise two principles of law. The first principle is voluntary undertaking. Under the law, if you undertake a task, the law says you shall do so non-negligently. That is, you shall act reasonably when you do the task that you have undertaken. Here, you have undertaken the task of driving around the debris and the golf bag and other things that were in the cart path. The second legal principle is the duty to keep a proper lookout. It not only applies to motor vehicles, but it applies to golf carts. If you're driving a golf cart, you have a duty to keep a lookout for hazard ahead and dangers to other people. Here, I find that you have proven that Mr. Ward not only did not take the task and do it non-negligently, and that's why he made contact with you. He also failed to keep a proper lookout. Otherwise, he would have stopped. And because you have proven that he's wrong and that his wrong caused your harm, I find in your favor, and I'm going to award you $25,000 for your past medicals, $30,000 for your future medicals, $500,000 for pain and suffering, for a total award of $555,000. That is my final verdict, and this matter is adjourned.